What does it take to actually be a Christian? Not become a Christian, but to be a Christian. Today, I want to look at what I think are the 3 key principles to being a Christian. The first key principle I want to look at is sacrifice. This is one of the key things to becoming a Christian. You see, you go through your classes at church, wherever you go, and you become a Christian. They teach you to pray, read your Bible. They may even say to fast. But that's about it. But Christianity is more than that. Christianity is a sacrifice. It is a way of laying down your life. Jesus will say it this way: you've got to take up your cross and follow me. The cross being a form of torture and punishment, something that you would not want to do. There was a way of saying this back in the day, that what are we going to leave at the foot of the cross? You know, what is it that you like to do that you're willing to leave at the cross? This idea of sacrifice is something that we have to get in our minds if we're going to be Christians. We have to be able to give up something, because if not, why become a Christian? Some may say, I give up my ability not to sin. I don't care about that. I want to know what you're giving up to make this world a better place. What you're giving up to reach other people. You see, the story of God's children, the story of us Christians, the story of God's, plan is that the world will be redeemed. Some people like to think about, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, so just let them go. That is not the story of God. That is not the story that was set up through Abraham. That's not the story of the cross. That's not the gospel of Jesus. The gospel of Jesus, the gospel of the cross, is Christ crucified, and that Christ crucified is that we will sacrifice ourselves for other people. So the first key thing about being a Christian, what are you going to sacrifice? What are you going to do to take up your cross? Are you like Elijah that's going to burn his plows, going to leave his job, get rid of everything he owned to follow God? Just like the disciples who just leave their family to follow him, to change their world. Or are you more comfortable sitting in an air-conditioned building on a padded pew, listening to someone else talk about what it's like to be a Christian, and saying you are one, but not giving anything? And listen to me, I'm not talking about money. God doesn't need your money. God needs you. God needs to partner with you. And yes, sometimes money can be something that we give, but God needs you to do something. The second principle to being a Christian goes along with the first one very easily, and it's to serve. Who are you serving? Who are you giving your life into? Who are you pouring into? Jesus says that we are to go and make disciples, not other Christians. We had a way of saying you have to pour into somebody else. So your cup is filled by God, and then you have to fill someone else's cup. Who are you serving? This is a key principle to being a Christian. A lot of people do like just to get on the train and ride and, okay, I've got my ticket to heaven. But who are you pouring into? Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's that coworker that nobody likes. Maybe it's the smelly kid that eats lunch by himself. Maybe it's your best friend who just needs a hug, who just needs you to be there because they're going through something. And then who are you pouring into to help become a better Christian? This is the idea of sacrifice and service. We're going to sacrifice our time for other people to make this world a better place. And we are going to serve other people to help make disciples so that they can then in turn do what? Go and make disciples. I've said it before on these videos. The church is really good at making converts. Church is not good as a whole at making disciples. But we have to make disciples. This is a key principle to being a Christian, because if you're not pouring into everybody else, you're selfish, plain as day. And selfish people isn't who God works with. And the third principle of being a Christian, what is the next step to being a Christian, is to live in community. Just as you have to disciple and pour into other people, you have to live in community. Nobody does this thing we call Christianity alone. Nobody was designed to live alone. We have to be inside of community. And what does community teach us? Community teaches us that we are somebody. We are a part of the body. Paul will say it this way, that we all have a place in the body. Some people will be an ear, some people will be a nose, some people will be an eye. Some people will have the fun job of being, a organ or something, whatever it is. Like, it doesn't matter. You are part of the body, so you have to live in community. The ear can't go off by itself and say, well, I'm going to go do this by myself, because we need all of our body. And if you're not doing your part, it makes my part, it makes someone else's part harder. Is that what you want? Because I think that's called being selfish. And we know that our God does not like selfish people. So what does it take to be a Christian? It takes sacrifice, it takes service, it takes living in community. These are the three things that you should start with to learn. Yes, you should read your Bible. Yes, you should pray. Yes, you should even fast. And I know that's a dirty word nowadays among Christians, because we don't like to give up something. But if you're not sacrificing something, I don't know how much of a Christian you are. If you're not serving someone else to make disciples, I don't know how much of a Christian you are. And if you're not living in harmony in a community where people can basically pour into you and you can pour into them and you make each other stronger and you do ministry together, I don't think that's called Christianity. You see, we see in the book of Acts that they all lived together, they ate meals together, and they prayed together. We see in the beginning of Genesis that God lives in this harmony, which we call the Trinity. We see over and over again that we need each other. So for you, if you want to know what it takes to be a Christian, yes, read your Bible, pray, do those things. But learn where to sacrifice. Learn how to make disciples. Serve. Learn to live with your neighbor. These things are what God is calling us to. These are the things that will make you a better Christian.